Niski getting the push here in the mid lane, has gone back and got himself that tier. Will stack up the Seraph, so at least looking for the hook and lands it on Dos. Dos has a flash, but I don't really think he... Angry at myself for using mean grabbers during this fight, because SK get 2.
No flash, no stem,
Relax guys, relax.
Chase. Can we chase?
Welcome back to LEC, where Rogue's victory against SK have locked them at least a tiebreaker to make it into the playoffs. I'm Ginny, joined by Markoon, Finn, and GB to break this one down. Just so starting off with things, first of all, congratulations.
Very much.
Another win under your belt. That's quite a few back-to-back.
Yeah, it took some time for us, but we got there eventually.
I mean, I'm sweating right now because we got that bet going on with some Surfstorming, and not just the Surfstorming itself, but the juice of it.
The juice of the Surfstorming.
Do you want to explain that for anyone who missed it last time?
I think it's pickled herring or something like that.
Yeah, it's like Swedish pickled herring. You put it in the ground for a few years and then you pick it up later. It's
okay, yeah, that's
delicious.
great.
Why exactly?
I don't know. But at least one of the reasons why I might be losing this bet is Markoon, because honestly, mate, you've been playing phenomenal in your Volibear game and this one as well. Why did it take so long to click for you on this Rogue roster? Because it seems like you're finally performing to what people expected as well, coming into the year.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought about this a lot as well, because these past few games I feel a lot more in my groove, and I've made some changes to my routine as well, like before coming into spring, which has also helped me, but I feel like it's finally starting to click, and I finally have like a lot of calm in the game, which I normally didn't really have during my gameplay, which it allows you to see them, like it just allows you to do everything way easier, right? And I think it's showing at this point.
When we're looking at you guys, as a collective.
I was just gonna say that he's welcome that I'm here.
Oh,
you're the confidence boost.
That's why I'm giving him confidence every day.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question. Do you think it has anything to do with your Finn
it's
here
like
on
I play
top?
with Finn every day in scrims, so I know I have to step up on stage.
And that's exactly the kind of piece that we needed in Rogue, for me to do that, to push Markoon to be even better. That's what I see that he doesn't see, but I'm helping him a lot.
That's what I do on the broadcast as well.
Yeah,
you know, you gotta be the bully victim so they get confidence.
All right, well, with that as well, you guys have that win, and as I said, at least a tiebreaker under your belt. But the standings in general coming into spring, was that an expectation that you've had as a team after winter?
I expected a lot better, honestly. With our initial scrims, I think we really had a rough set of games on stage, and it really took some time for us to kind of figure out what our issues were even, because I feel like we were just going on stage and we were just kind of ignorant to our surroundings. We didn't really realize what kind of mistakes we were making, and it took a lot of time for us to figure out what kind of direction we needed. I think we found a part of that, at least, to some degree.
You got 3 wins, right?
Yeah, so I guess a third of the way there.
Congratulations. Casey is currently at the bottom, but also with this win particularly that you've had against SK, that also means that SK is going to have to play a tiebreaker. So there's quite a lot of different moving elements that we need to keep track of here.
Oh, absolutely. But you at least guaranteed a tiebreaker. There will be a tiebreaker. There's still so many scenarios in terms of where we're going to be going. We will be updating people, but for now, congrats on staying alive at least.
Yep, absolutely. And we're going to be heading into the match of the week, because what exactly is on the line? We have Fnatic that is going to be locking themselves into that first spot if they do win. So let's head over to our casters, Dagda and Drakos, to break this one down.
We weren't just doing
anything weird.
Anything weird. We were doing normal stuff
Yeah,
up here. Don't worry about it. Anyway, we're getting into game Fnatic versus Mad Lions. Before we get in, I have to say, while there is a lot of intensity in the fan bases, before it came to us, during break, the Fnatic and Mad Lions Koi fans are so wholesome.
It was amazing.
You guys are like shouting at each other. I know now you have to like yell at each other and like stuff. I just gotta say it was super, super wholesome. Love to see it. Fantastic stuff there. Love between the respective fan bases. And while there is a lot of love, and it is our match of the week delivered by Uber Eats, you know, I think the Mad Lions Koi fans, they might need a little bit more than love on this particular one if they want to lock it in. They want to secure themselves that spot in playoffs. But we'll see, Rob. It's been a bit of an up and down for both of these teams this week.
Yeah, I mean, Fnatic having that first loss, or another loss, was not great for themselves, but not to see how they do, because a win here would lock them that top spot coming into playoffs. Whereas we look across at Mad Lions Koi, I mean, honestly, just trying to find their footing. It feels like they haven't been able to find that success in the mid game, and now with their opportunity to try and lock themselves into playoffs, it would be a huge win over Fnatic, and even that confidence that they need going into the playoff brackets.
That confidence very important, especially with Fnatic, you know, sitting at the top. At MDK as well, it was interesting. You know, I had an interview with Supa, talking about how he still feels like the team is playing really well and behind the scenes improving really rapidly, despite maybe not being able to show the results on stage. And they certainly have been close a few times. But as we jump into the draft, you see pretty standard priority bans. Taliyah going to be the first pick here. On the opposite side, the Zeri plus the Rell as Noah takes himself a brief moment to breathe, to center himself. For what is going to be a Kai'Sa game, and we'll see what build he wants to go for. He is LS's favorite AD carry, I imagine, right now. As Fnatic have already very successfully used LS's face for clickbait. And it may happen once again.
Yeah, curious to see. I mean, it does feel like he'll probably go for a little bit of that poke build that we got to see already from him. But yeah, I was about to say for jungle, I want to see something a bit more aggressive, something that can set up this Taliyah. Volibear fits that perfectly. So looking to see Fnatic once again play through that strong mid jungle. And then it's just a question of for Noah and sorry, for Jun, how he wants to try and round himself out in that pairing with Noah and try and play up into what is going to be that strong pairing in the mid duo.
Big debate. I do always get nervous for the opposing team when Razork gets the Volibear. This is a man large and in charge in the early game. I think that it's safe to say. Ahri now coming in as well. Okay, so Ahri Taliyah, a matchup that I'm a bit divided on. If you have the tools to limit Ahri's mobility, as we saw in the G2 Fnatic game when they were the ones to pull out the Poppy, etc. It looked pretty easy to shut this pick down with only the Taliyah. We've seen Ahri's, you know, you build Merc Treads, you can dash into the minefield and get away. The stun, not long enough duration to really stop you. But now the Rec side, the TF band. Curious what Myrwn is going to go to, if he's actually going to find something really advantageous with this red side last pick. If they do want to give him that counter pick, he feels much, much better when he has one of these niche counter picks.
Yeah.
He seems so much more confident.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely feels significantly more confident in that regard. But I also think, like, I want to see something here for Elyoya. I think the Rell is, well, I would prefer to see go down to the bottom side of the map, and then you try and take something that's a little bit more advantageous for yourself, like the Lee Sin or something a little bit more aggressive here, because I think a lot of what we've seen from Razork and Humanoid is a huge amount of that strong mid jungle, so I want to see that counteracted. You've already got the Ahri. Try and make that a little bit better for yourself.
If I have the room to set themselves up, what is Big 4 going to be here? Renata,
Renata, okay.
Solid. I mean, when you look at the opposite side and you see a Volibear, you know you're going to get some value out of the Renata.
Yeah.
I do get nervous against the Kai'Sa, who can reposition herself so easily to get away from a utility spell like Hostile Takeover. But with the range support already locked in, with Kai'Sa being honestly incredibly low range early on, you're pretty much set to take over the bottom side. That is a Leona, however.
Yeah.
And while she rarely shows her face in pro play because a single item hard counters her, and that item is Merc Treads, she does a ton of damage early on.
Yeah, it's definitely a very aggressive lane in the bottom side. I think it's something that Supa and Alvaro are going to have to pay attention to, because I imagine with the way Fnatic are set up, it's, hey, do what we usually do. Try and get some early roams from Jun towards mid, work with Humanoid and Razork, get the success there, and then start to lean that bot side. And when you're in that position, then it becomes very easy for the Zeri, or to turn it down onto Zeri, or even push the Renata out of lane. The only thing is, of course, you will struggle to get wave control in that bot side, so maybe there's a bit of an angle there for Alvaro to get out on the map first, but I still think you've got a great answer here as Fnatic.
Did Myrwn just pick the most vanilla ice cream R5 top laner possible?
A little bit, yeah.
Was his hair the secret to his counter picks? Now that he has shaved his head, are they no longer an option? These are the questions that comes to my mind immediately. Myrwn, of course, solid top laner. Oscar on K'Sante, a comfort pick. I think his best pick across the entire year thus far, not just because of the power of the pick, but he looks incredibly comfortable on it. So, need to see how well Myrwn can perform on the Udyr here. I don't think this top lane matchup is going to be super crucial early on. Instead, Rob, we've already talked about it, as the Fnatic movie posters just keep coming in. Respect. Bot lane, going to be hype.
Yeah, I think the big thing here for Madeline's Koi is that the Udyr guarantees them another pushing lane, right? So in the early stages, you got guaranteed push bot, pretty much guaranteed push on top, and it means that it's a little bit more difficult for Razork to really try and invade and get involved in some of the early plays. So I think specifically it'll be on Elyoya to try and track where Razork is, so he's not trying to like pull off any funky maneuvers. But with, you know, the fourth wave crash into reset for Myrwn, I think he'll be able to get a nice advantage here against the K'Sante. You play for demolish procs, and then it's all focused on bot lane. Like, how well can Elyoya do to try and disrupt the attention that Fnatic want to try and put down here?
And how well can Jun do with something like the Leona, a champion we don't see nearly as much in professional play? Haven't seen it really recently whatsoever. Take a look at the overall picks in a brief moment here. But I think that ultimately, both sides, decent tools to play around the bottom lane, certainly more aggressive tools for Fnatic. I do get concerned if they start to fall behind, but here we are. Time now to get into the game. Fnatic versus Mad Lions Koi. Playoffs, more or less on the line. Fans. Ready. It's a bait. And the thing that you guys have to understand is that we just needed to test you to make sure that everybody was ready. That's right. We needed to make sure you knew who you were.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's right. Fnatic fans, dementia patients, handshake. Gah. That was unnecessary. Dementia patients did not need to catch that
Yeah,
straight.
they're delirious.
Yeah,
Come on. There's a
okay, all
difference.
right. You're right.
I know, but seriously, I think it's incredible for Fnatic, right? The opportunity to actually take first place here if they end up winning this. I think they've had a phenomenal split. It's been really, really working well. And a huge amount of it has been like falling back towards the veterans, right? But I think Jun, great addition into this roster as well. Yep. He's been stepping up massively. And even the way that they play around this Taliyah pick has been really, really cool. Like playing for those side lane picks, catching people off guard, being willing to rotate around the map. It really feels like they're especially when they get their hands on Taliyah, have found a way to make this pick always work for them.
Which I think is good to see because that's on paper what we want to always see from Taliyah players, but not all players have really unlocked that maybe level of individual confidence or coordination with the team to really make the most out of this pick overall. There was an issue locking in picks. We are getting into a game. About 20, 30 seconds here for our match of the week. Fans still eager. We're still excited. I mean, MDK went to finals. The biggest surprise, potentially, of both winter and spring now. Winter in the best way possible, spring dangerously close to the worst way. But have to see now. Noah's age is coming. I respect that you did not put his face on the tiny squirrel. That would have been rude.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, what the poster with the poster meta? It evolves. And I think that we're gonna have to keep track of the poster meta. I'm gonna be honest. Botline meta, interesting. Poster meta, most compelling thing I have seen thus far. So here we are, onto the Rift. Level 1s, pretty calm, pretty controlled. Fan bases unleashed, excited. It's a good contrast.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
I'm still curious to see exactly how MDK want to try and approach this. Because as I say, I think you got an easy one of, hey, we want to try and make sure we can get push top, get push and bot, like put more attention into the bottom side of the map, and just make sure we're able to scale relatively well into a mid game. But it's when we get to the mid game, that's where I've seen the mistakes too often from Madeline's Koi, and especially when you're getting to composition like this from Fnatic with the Taliyah, it's so easy for them to roam around, pick you off if you overextend the side lane. You can get yourself caught out, so it's going to have to be a clean performance here from Madeline or MDK if they hope to take this one down.
Definitely true. And while it's easy to focus on the MDK side of the story, as I think the stakes are certainly higher for them, just a reminder that, you know, Fnatic haven't been at the top of the standings in a regular season in quite some time. 2018 summer was the last time. And it's not like this week has been fantastic. We look at the last game for Fnatic against SK. Don't get me wrong, SK threw harder, but Fnatic also threw. Now Fnatic, though, looking for a bit of an aggressive level 1. Not going to quite find the setup angle. Good patience from MDK who played to the far side of the lane because they didn't have brush control.
Let's just keep my eyes on the Volibear here. He will get pinged out there. So didn't start blue buff. Wasn't sure if he knew that the ward had gone down, but just gets caught on the edge of it. So at least the moment, Madeline's Koi have full information on where the Volibear is starting. And it will be both junglers starting to make their way down towards this bottom side. Because, as I said, I think for Supa and Alvaro, you want to try and continue to put the pressure on towards Jun and Noah. That's kind of the downside of Leona, is you are all or nothing. So if you can't find those windows to go in, well, Supa and Alvaro will just get to chip away at your turret and make the most of it.
Yeah, and again, mentioned earlier, you know, obviously an oversimplification, but Leona doesn't have any knockups. And as a result, Merc Treads are incredibly effective, and so your window of playmaking much shorter in pro overall. People aren't going to hesitate to rush that boot option. But again, the damage profile, really what Leona can provide, as well as the long-range non-committal engage of a spell like Solar Flare. But also, as you highlighted, Rob, she goes in really well. She goes out
Not so well.
really not so well, right? And that's tricky. And it's not Aftershock either. Does have a lot of natural resistances. Is a good flick back, but an excellent charm for Fresskowy. Elyoya now on the setup. Will he commit for the flash shattering strike? Humanoid looks like he's just going to try to play for the wave, accepting his fate on first blood. Drawn out. Elyoya there where he needed to be, but it's Fresskowy with the charm that really makes that first blood work.
Great timing on us. Fresskowy just about able to clip him with it before he got slingshotted backwards, but means now he'll be able to reset, get the early Dark Seal for himself, get a little bit more control over this wave. But smart from Humanoid not to invest a flash. Like, Fresskowy and Elyoya would have been able to follow too easy, so he just accepts it as, ooh, Jun.
Good movement coming in from Supa, though. Gets the dash over the wall as the tether is still there. Does not bring Jun along with him. Razork here. Bottom side, moving through the brushes. Very powerful. And the thing about the Volibear we've just seen, it just takes over. Clear speed's so good, early trading so good. But excellent window there that Elyoya capitalizes on to find the first assist at the very least, as Razork takes away Scuttle. Holds on to at least a 1 camp lead for now. A little bit more.
Elyoya should be able to move up here. I'm going to try and contest for a second Scuttle, but honestly, with the way the wave is pressed in, might be a little bit difficult. For Fresskowy though, over here, maybe they go for the 2v2, but especially after you just... Yeah, they're not going to try and overdo it. Elyoya going to be able to take his Raptors free set and then try and come back out onto the map. So I think, again, it's going to be a case of Elyoya trying to see if he can take some of the extra time he didn't use on the Scuttle Crabs to maybe clear out his Krugs and then make his way to bot side.
Good opportunity there, as we see once again, a little parkour comes out from Supa and he's able to just walk out to safety. Early threat hasn't been there yet for Fnatic in the bottom lane. All right, early advantages still going to the side of MDK. Humanoid getting the better of a lot of these trades, however. This guy connecting the charm a bit too late, but will at least proc the electrocute. So now, what is the next play? What is the next opportunity? What's up, Myrwn doing what he can to slow push this wave forward? Will most likely get the TP out from Oscar. Small advantage. Can't imagine that he will use that for anyone other than himself, though. And Oscar still opting to stay. Xante mana costs notoriously low, allowing him to stick it out a little bit longer in this one, but is also there to cover just in case Razork needs support. Fresskowy good charm this time around, and Humanoid really can't trade back there. Nice little okay from the Rammus.
Elyoya's coming in from the bottom side here, though. Will be spotted, so Humanoid has to back away. But means Void Grub's going to be able to go across the Razork. If I'm Noah and Jun, though, that's where I'm really starting to get worried. Because I know that Elyoya is on the spot side, and we've been completely separated from our jungler.
It's a tricky thing. Void Grub's taken out. All 3 going to the side of Fnatic. Definitely a nice early buff to have, depending on where they can get pressure. Tricky, of course, because they might not be able to leverage it too much for themselves. Right now, Mad Lion's coy. Yes, they lost the Grubs, but they're grabbing the Drake, using bot pressure pretty well. Razork resetting to the bottom side of the map, but he's not going to be here in time to get the Drake. That said, Supa also getting the play. Man, Mad Lion's coy just getting so many little advantages.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about, is like, I think Razork kind of needs to play either through mid a little bit more, or actually just like all in on the bot side. Maybe now that you've hit the level 6, you can get Humanoid to join in, make things a little bit easier. But as long as you continue to have Elyoya pressuring this bottom side of the map, it's impossible for Jun to actually go in. He just gives his life when Elyoya shows up. So I think this is where you're just getting that continual chip damage for Supa on the bottom lane. So really, this is where I want to see Fnatic up the ante a little bit. Like, get your shove mid and immediately start to transition bot lane. You can already see like Jun and Razork linking up together now, get the vision control that they need in River to enable Humanoid to lean into this bottom side.
Definitely good heads up play. Oscar as well doing really solidly in the 1v1, at least to try and get pressure on some of these trades. Udyr, of course, has not had the opportunity to back away quite yet and get that reset, so a lot of gold just sitting in Myrwn's pocket. Once he is finally able to recall, might get something done. Razork going for the play here. Good handshake from Alvaro. Doesn't go for a Jun, goes for Razork, knowing the follow-up is more lethal. And that's the play kind of fizzling. Bot prior is there, and yeah, this is the moment where if Drake wasn't already gone, you'd get the Drake, but it is. So MDK, earlier plays paying dividends.
Yeah, it will be a 1-2 punch though, because it's not going to be just a one-time Humanoid comes down here. You use essentially not anything on Fnatic to get that job done, but you burn the flash on Alvaro. Now, when you use the wall the next time, Alvaro just gets stuck on one side of it, and he's going to fall. So this is going to be a case of, you know, in a minute's time, start to make your way back down here and do the exact same play once more. So I want to see what Elyoya has to respond with, because I think your best bet is to try and punish Humanoid to punish bot side, because if you can't get that play with Humanoid involved, it becomes significantly more difficult to actually set up that play for Fnatic.
And I feel like there's just been so much pressure on Elyoya in this early game. You talked about it, trying to cover as much as he can against a jungler who is going to be more powerful early on, trying to mitigate some of these avenues of attack for the side of Fnatic. In this case, you highlighted Alvaro's missing flash. Everyone will finally TP back to top. Boots to a tier, nothing too exciting. Although delaying the recall as long as he did does mean it's going to take some time to stack that tier.
Yeah, I think it's kind of just a response to what we've seen in the map, because oftentimes you won't see Udyr go for the tier, but I think in this specific case where you're just constantly pressing ore and looking for demolish procs like this, I actually like the adaptation where even though it's a little bit late, it's just about having as much mana to continue to push the wave, knowing Fnatic are putting a lot of resources into that bottom side, so Myrwn kind of just gets to farm turret plates for free.
And good to be able to put yourself ahead in gold. I think the biggest problem I've had with Udyr domestically for us in the LEC is that oftentimes while Udyrs will get some of these early laning leads, the transition of making this champion a continuous threat past just the laning phase is often a difficult one. Let's see if Myrwn can be the exception to that trend so far. Good pushback from Oscar, pullback as well, instant all out. Ghost procced on both sides. And nothing's gonna happen here. Waiting for the Q3. Myrwn trying to sidestep. Looks like the play is going to fizzle. Nice bit of damage coming in from Fresskowy. Trying to back away. Pull back good under Razork. Ulti now coming in. That's a magnetic storm. Judd looking for a bit more damage. Elyoya still healing up for a moment longer. Fresskowy finding the initial kill. Resets now coming in. Bailout not quite there. Razork able to get the return kill, but the charm back is now coming in. But do they have the damage? Red buff ticking. Nice sidestep from Fresskowy. Doesn't have the, oh my gosh, so incredibly close. I thought for sure maybe a flash auto, but he doesn't want to risk it. He doesn't want to risk dying under tower. Instead, happy to just have the pressure and very likely the tower plate.
Very good call from Madeline's Koi, though. Attack Fnatic before they make it down to the bottom side of the map. They find the 3v3 with the roam. Perfect timing from Alvaro. And even though they don't get the bailout on Elyoya, they still come out on top now. Fnatic, I want to try and turn it around.
Flash in. Zenith Blade now following up. Hostile takeover is there, but Razork going to turn right back onto Alvaro. Find the initial kill. Fresskowy's here, double buff there, but Fnatic got what they came for. The pick onto Alvaro.
Yeah, Alvaro just having no flash comes back to bite him, but unfortunately wasn't able to escape. Now Fnatic, they do spot out Myrwn. Volibear is on top side with Jun still.
1v1 fight on the top side, part a million. Oscar, though, has burned a lot of those major cooldowns. But Supa is here. Creative lane swap. Noah already down to the bottom lane. Oscar going to recognize that Supa is here. Doesn't know exactly where Myrwn is forced to back away, can't stop the recall.
So Fnatic were, at least Oscarinin was trying to delay the reset on Myrwn because his teleport's just about to be up. So the longer he can keep Myrwn in lane, he can't reset, regain the health and mana, and then get back to lane to match for Void Grubs. But because you had the rest of MDK show up, they're able to bully Oscarinin off. They get the reset for Myrwn, but he is... and with that earlier rotation as well, they're able to get numbers advantage here for the Void Grubs. So it will be then a split onto the Void Grubs 3 for 3, but ends up giving Fnatic a lot more control over this bottom side of the map, especially for Noah, who's going to be happy to pick up some of the gold off this turret plate in the bot side as well.
It's interesting. You've effectively traded one plate thus far for the Grubs. Denied 6 grub buff, which I certainly do like, but if they're in time to contest the Drake, that's going to be the big thing, because they conceded all bot side control.
And Oscarinin just TP top, so you don't have the match here. So MDK, if they TP in Fresskowy, which they are, they can contest.
Fan advantage. But the Dragon already gone. Myrwn needs to run forward. Ram stance can't just be unstoppable, but he doesn't use it in time. The activation. Elyoya now trying to keep them all in the midst. 4 members stacked up. Lightning crash there, but Supa's caught in the wall. He can't get over. Fresskowy off to the side. The charm now going into it. Connects to the Volibear. Gets the reset. Humanoid trying to lay down a bit more damage, but just Fresskowy standing behind him, and Mad Lion's Koi taking 2 out in the process. The follow-up dive. One more dash available for Fresskowy. The wave about to collapse. Noah and Jun doing everything they can to defend the tower. Fresskowy goes a little bit too soon, though. He doesn't need to make that play. Noah now trying to back away. Ultra Shock Laser goes in. Noah getting chipped down. Crash down, not quite there. Cleanse ulti out to safety, but MDK still play it damn clean. Oscar trying to free fire back on the top side of the map, but it is not going to go in his favor. MDK with a massive play.
Beautiful punish from Mad Lion's Koi. The second they see Oscarinin having TP back to the top side, they're like, we can get numbers advantage. We can collapse on this. And Elyoya, that engage was picture perfect to set up for your team.
Definitely was. Oscar finally going to knock down the last plate here, but it is not going to make the difference in the overall gold lead. 425 to him. Still a 2K gold lead for MDK overall.
And this is exactly what MDK need. The opportunity to try and fight back, try and push themselves up into playoffs. And against a team like Fnatic, this is exactly the lead that you want to come into your mid-game with. There's Noah. That hurt a little bit.
That's the moment where you press tab, realize the Ahri is 403 and go, I see.
And this thing.
Yeah, there's that thing, the 9 detector. I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of things you could hover there. We could just circle that whole... that whole thing.
Here, just this is a problem. Just this. This
yeah,
thing.
is that?
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah.
Found it.
Sorry, I'll go.
Good and not good.
Problem.
No, you can't type. Don't try. It won't let you. It wants you to draw circles exclusively. Jun, that is not where you will find safety or peace. He did not learn his lesson on the bottom tower. MDK are more than happy to oblige him and teach him a second time here, as Myrwn is also getting the top tower. How did this go so wrong? We were so busy talking about how incredibly overpowered Fresskowy is at this exact moment. We missed the context of the play.
Well, that was the problem, was that because Noah had gotten chunked, they were able to immediately collapse onto mid lane. They get the numbers advantage, and now they push on through. Elyoya exiting into that top side as well means he's here to protect Myrwn from any Volibears that might show up. Oscarinin should be able to clear the wave, though, so it won't quite be top tower, but still, Madeline's Koi playing this map perfectly right now.
3K advantage. All right, man versus man who believes he's 4 animals. Still not the most eventful fight, more about the pressure, the PvE. But Jun on the way up. If he cancels this recall, it's pretty big. Ward? Ooh, feels bad. Shield the Daybreak, not gonna connect there. Supa walking forward, finally takes mid lane tower. Their first tower of the game. 3 overall.
Yeah, I don't know if you care about this Rift Herald if you're MDK, though. You got Fresskowy on bot side, and he should be able to get that tower. So as long as you keep people pushed up to top end, you're pretty happy here as Madeline's Core.
Definitely. Unfortunately, you had to give it up, but of course, 3 goes make this a little bit faster. Fresskowy's not going to be able to grab the tower on this wave, but can chip away at it. And you can see already Alvaro waiting in the Fnatic red side jungle.
And this is where Madeline's Koi, they get to establish a ton of vision, minute and a half until bargain. So Fnatic trying to contest at the moment, but you can see you're not allowed in this jungle right now because of how much MDK control. And with the amount of money or investment on the bottom side.
Needs to run. Myrwn debating. The flick back still good. No! A moment of overconfidence. Sees a bear again, and Humanoid gets the kill. Myrwn had that. By all rights, that should have been his kill. Humanoid plays it so clean. I mean, he should have just died. He should have died. But I don't even know how he did it.
And that's a huge win for Fnatic, because if Myrwn had got the kill, gets top tower, and you lose control of your bot side jungle with dragon spawning, that's like the game kind of written off at that stage. But with that little bit of extra oomph in their power, Humanoid now gets the back. He's completed his first item. He's got a Dark Seal himself. He's starting to match some of the power that's coming through from Madeline's Koi mid laner. And as well, they get control over mid wave, and with a Rift Herald in tow, they can use that to get control for River for Dragon.
Yeah. Very close to just being Myrwn running down Humanoid in the lane, but I think that moment of hesitancy where he backsteps but is still in tower range really costs him dearly. Elyoya stepping in. We'll need to step back as Humanoid lays down the Unraveled Earth. Fnatic don't have the members here or the push to go too far forward into the fog of war there, as Madeline's Koi shifting all of their vision to the top side of the map. Myrwn, in the meantime, has taken up home in the bottom lane. Oscar resetting to mid. Fnatic potentially keen to start something here.
I think the mistake here was Razork going for red buff. I think he should have reset and actually tried to get out onto the map again, so then you can try and push in mid, threaten the tier 1 in mid with the Rift Herald. But now with the position that you're in, the late reset means that Myrwn gets to push boss. You're going to get Dragon here. Supa's managed to shove in mid, and there's not really a massive threat anywhere on the map for Fnatic to really trade if you go for Dragon. And even in Madeline's Koi, they're faking the Dragon. They're going to go for Humanoid. He's no flash.
Humanoid caught on the side, a bit of vengeance after the last play. Myrwn should have enough damage to finish this off, and if he does it, Supa more than certainly will. Alvaro going to take the kill. Now MDK, control over the bottom side, can move straight to Dragon if they want to, but first they want to push that vision line forward. Great call out, great collapse, overloading the side of the map.
Yeah, and it was just playing off of the assumptions Fnatic had made. You assume the Dragon is going to be where Madeline's Koi go for next, but they're kind of like, here, look, let's be real. An Ocean Soul isn't really our win condition here, but Fresskowy getting caught.
Razork Thundering Smash goes in, Noah leaps out. Fresskowy, my god, the flash into the ult. Spirit Rush takes him to safety. Noah dangerously close to killing him. One more item, one more dagger, one more longsword, probably would have done it. But now, the Herald charging, spinning, 360ing. It's a little bit confusing now as the Leona finally going to get into the midst of the fight. Hostile takeover is there. Myrwn now needs to find his way to the backside. Noah going to go down. MDK still trying to take over. Supa still standing. Crucially, that is one mega fed Zeri, but they can't finish off Oscar time. Yes, they can! Supa still alive! It's not even a bailout, he's just immortal. It's a quadra for the Zeri. Myrwn still stepping forward. Humanoid's got no business being here. Mad Lions Koi like lions upon prey. It's a benta for Supa. What a fight.
A penta per split is needed for Supa, and he claims it in what is going to be one of the most pivotal games for Mad Lions Koi of the split. An incredible fight from MDK.
That was impressive. We have to watch it again.
And this is where Supa is in a great position. He's continuing to push on forward, but the big thing you have to keep an eye on is watch it, the bailout. Oscarinin is trying to time it for the second that it goes down, but he actually messes up ever so slightly, so that then Supa is able to flash forward, get the reset onto the Leona, and from that point forward, you just can't touch him. He's getting so many dashes in the back line, and MDK are just able to set up perfectly.
Fresskowy, good damage, but he's got another dash. Spear rush forward onto Noah. They're just slaughtering Fnatic. Fnatic stepping too far forward. Humanoid throws two backwards, keeps his team alive to fight another day. It's only 19 minutes into the game. Baron's not even up yet, but this gold lead feels insurmountable. This is the MDK they told us about. This is the MDK they said, hey, we're playing scrims, we're looking great. They didn't show it on stage as much, but today they are showing it.
This is the MDK from Winter. This is exactly what people were hoping to see. A team that could play aggressive in the early stages, punish map movements, and then find that success in the mid game, not overextend on side lanes, not get caught out mispositioning. But every single time Fnatic have stepped up to the plate, MDK have shot them down where they stand.
Excellent performance thus far. The Ahri, I was initially a little bit skeptical how well Fresskowy was going to be able to do, but that clean charm really kicking things off in the mid lane. Humanoid getting collapsed on. Elyoya and Fresskowy starting that snowball, getting the ball rolling there. In a relatively quiet game from the rest of the map for Fnatic. This Kai'Sa-Leona pairing not really giving them the advantage on bot side maybe they were hoping to find. And it is the on-hit Kai'Sa this time around. Not one of the more creative AP optimization builds. They need sustained damage. It does make sense. You have to kill the Udyr. But MDK for now are just running the Rift.
Fnatic are just trying to play off side lanes. They're saying, hey, look, screw this. We can't really fight. We can't really go anywhere near MDK, so maybe you can try and pressure into top side. You can see both jungle and support there to support Humanoid, but now everyone's got to try and dip. But Mad Lions Koi, they're hoping to pull them off and catch them as Barna spawn Myrwn. Spot on a ward bus. Looks like they'll just about get out of there in time.
You can see the Weaver's wall, though. Humanoid anticipates the collapse on the side lane. And MDK, all it takes is one more pick that they've found multiple times already on the side lane. One member on Fnatic sticking around for one extra wave, one extra cannon minion. That pick will be enough for MDK to move to Baron, and they can start knocking down the last of these remaining towers. I mean, they've already got 5.
Yep. And for MDK, it's just about controlling this jungle on the top side. As long as you get those waves in your favor, and you can try and bait out a TP from Oscarinin and start to get these numbers advantages on the side lanes, like especially since Myrwn doesn't quite has his. That's why MDK are starting up the Baron right now. They're trying to pull teleports out of Fnatic so they can get control on the map.
Sustained damage isn't incredibly high. You can see this is taking a bit of time. Fresskowy also not committing to the objective. Fnatic, I think, recognize that this is happening and instead just go for tier 2. Recall's coming out. Myrwn can try to contest, and the rest of the side of MDK now retreating, but they're going to knock a tier 2 down of their own.
Exactly, and this is why I like the call from MDK. It's like, hey, we can go for both. Wave was already there in topside, so you get the threat in the tier 2, and you still got the TP on Myrwn to try and come in if anything does go a little bit awry. So tier 3, hang on.
Full committing for the play. Humanoid's already used all of his CC. Jun tries to throw down the solar flare, and Humanoid's just going to drop. Supa now legendary. The tower will fall. The wave set up in mid lane as well. It's a masterclass.
Myrwn's chasing the members of Fnatic.
They're not going to get a chance to recall either. Where was this mid game? The entire split. MDK with a lead. Unrelenting pressure in the mid lane. Pressure on the top side of the map. They knock down half of that health bar in the inhibitor tower. They take their first inhibitor. Within a minute of knocking down the big purple worm, they're already into Fnatic's base.
This is incredible. I mean, Myrwn chasing both Razork and Oscarinin back, so they can't reset. Numbers advantage for MDK. 2 inhibitors down. Mad Lions Koi. This is incredible. This is the stuff I want to see from this squad leading into playoffs.
This is, if it had been shaky, if it had been messy, we would have been doubting so much of what this team could do coming into best of 3s, if they were even able to make it. Now, it feels like an inevitability, but Fnatic not going to go quietly. Myrwn. Still a Phoenix, still a Bear, still a Ram. We'll walk away. Okay.
You tried. There was a solid effort, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go for it, but I don't think you're killing the Bear. I don't think it's going to happen. This bear, Razork is very killable. And I got to say, 16 out of 16 KP for Elyoya this game. I think the first kill in mid lane, the credit there belongs to Fresskowy. Elyoya was where he needs to be, but it was really Fresskowy who set that up. But he has been everywhere that the team has needed him to be. And you can see it in the score lines of his carries. 0 deaths on Supa, 0 deaths on Fresskowy. Immaculate performance.
Yeah, and I mean, as you say, setting up so much of this, like the flash in to get the CC, flashing over walls, flashing over the reverse crowd control that can come in, but Fnatic trying to poke out Myrwn. They've already got control on bot side. This is going to be so difficult to try and keep off of your turn here. You still got 45 seconds left on this Baron buff.
Guy splitter, Supa does get locked up though, but immediately cleanses out to safety. The hostile takeover buying all the space the Zeri needs. Lightning cutting through the back line of Fnatic. Humanoid now backing away. Noah's got nowhere else to go. A killer instinct. More like an instinct of desperation. Kills now coming through. Fresskowy, godlike. I expected a close match. I was ready for Fnatic to slaughter. I was not ready for this level of dominance for Mad Lions Koi. What a clean way to end the regular season. Supa now going in for just a little bit extra. The charm gonna connect. They don't have the damage to kill off Oscar, but they'll take their time on this one. They know they've done well. They've earned their moment of glory.
And they've earned their spot in playoffs. Mad Lions Koi will take it to 4 and 5.
Impressive stuff from start to finish. They'll finally hit the nexus. You can see the smile on Supa's face. This was the game they'd wanted to show us so many times. Today it finally manifests.
It was so incredibly well orchestrated. Like the transitional gank in mid from the get-go, play around that bottom side, get that big lead, and that Supa get that pentakill in the middle of that game as well.
I was incredibly caught off guard, but I won't be caught off guard if he wins your Kia Player of the Game vote at LEC on X. Elyoya, Fresskowy, or Supa are your options. Now, if this were about who's the most supportive, it'd be Elyoya, but we all know this is KDA.
Bigger number, better person.
There's a pentakill. And that's what people remember. When we return an interview with Supa, for now, we're going to head to a quick break.
Red Bull gives you wings.